Hello, I'm Oscar from Off to Work. I'm going to be doing a bit of a different video this time about 5 common mistakes that bartenders make. I've been bartending for over 10 years, let's say, working in different environments from pub, club to fancy cocktail bars and Piccadilly Circus. I do quite a bit of training here, and these are always things that I flag to my bartenders that are definitely no-goes. And hopefully someone can take something away from this video. This, I'd say, is probably the biggest no-no that you can do. Imagine you're working in a bar where you're going to have an ice bucket like this. I see it all the time. You're making a drink, having a gin and tonic, you need the ice, and you're going to put that in there, scoop up the ice. You don't ever want to do that, because if you break this and you get it in there, you have to get rid of the whole lot. And it can also be difficult if there's 3 or 4 of you working. You can't serve any drinks for that amount of time. Somebody's having to get the new ice. You're gonna have to melt down this ice or scoop it all out into another vessel. Just really, really far from ideal, and you shouldn't be doing it 100%. If you are ever in a situation where that happens, what I normally do, I get some like blackcurrant cordial and straight away pour it all over the ice, because I want there to be something visual. Even if somebody doesn't hear you're working at a loud club and then they go and they see there's blackcurrant cordial all over the ice, probably not going to use it, I'd hope. Yeah, don't do it. Number 2, pouring. But there is a few things to note when you're pouring a drink. Firstly, you want to be ideally using a speed pourer if you're going to be using this drink a lot. If you're not using a speed pourer, you want to be holding the bottle straight ahead so the customer can see the label, and you don't want to be pouring it without a speed pourer like that. Yeah, and then if you are using a speed pourer, you want to be holding the bottle around the top so you can get that flip really nice and quick. If you're holding it like this, you're going to have a looser turn of the bottle and you're going to end up pouring liquid all over your bar top. Quick one to note with speed pourers: if you are putting them through your glass wash machine, don't really want to wash these bits, because over time they can get really brittle, they can get really leaky if you keep putting them through a dishwasher. You don't want that either. Wasting valuable stock. If I'm talking about pouring, I'm talking about free pouring as well. We don't want to be free pouring unless you are quite highly trained on how to free pour. Bars that I've worked at the past, if you were free pouring, you had to do a test at the start of every shift. Even if you've been working there for a year free pouring, you still have to do the test. If you get it wrong by quite a small margin at that start, you can't free pour for that day. And there's also something to show from a licensing perspective. If you are just willy-nilly pouring drinks, and people think they've had one gin and tonic and then they go out and drive a car, but that shot of gin and tonic was actually 3 shots, because you don't know how to free pour, then that's obviously a cause for concern. So I'm going to show you now how to pour with a jigger. So if I'm holding the bottle here, which is not correct, you just see that it's okay going in, but I have a lot less control over the bottle, and as you see, when I put it back up, I'm going to spill a bit. Whereas if I'm holding it around the neck, still label facing the customer, I can flip it in and then cut it without spilling a drop. So to put into perspective, free pouring, I don't work on the bar as much anymore, so I'm not up to speed with my free pouring, but I'm just going to show you that probably not going to be bang on the mark. My free pour count is 3 for a single, 5 for a double. So I'm going to pour 1, 2, 3. And now, moment of truth, is that actually a single shot? I'm not too sure. So no, I'm over by quite a margin. And that is the exact point that I wanted to make. Unless your manager says they want you to do it, or if you have been tried and tested and the manager is still comfortable with you doing it, I would not free pour, definitely not in a professional setting. And hopefully that kind of illustrates why. Number 3, in no particular order, making sure you're using the correct Boston shaker. I have 2 glasses here. They look pretty identical. This one does not belong in this set. This is a set, but it's pretty similar, they're both thick tempered glass. But I want to make the point of how this fits nice and snug inside here, and this one does not. Now, to the untrained eye, this may look fine, but it's going to pop open so easily and it's not going to work. And also, even worse, if you're going to be using your standard pint glass or something like that, you just won't get a tight seal around the drink. It's going to pop open, it's going to go over you. Also, don't add bubbly stuff, anything that's carbonated, into your shaker. I do see this happening quite often, and it more than often results in quite a mess. You're making drinks with champagne, soda, whatnot. That's normally a step that you will top up to the cocktail after you've shaken it, if shaking is required. So don't make a mess and shake with bubbly stuff. One other mistake that I want to mention is holding the shaker the right way up, which is this way. Firstly, if there's a break in the seal here somewhere and you're getting a small amount of leakage, the leakage is gonna come straight out, whereas here it'll just kind of sit in that gap there. It also means if there's a complete loss of the seal, this drink is going to fall out. It's going to probably smash in my ice well, go onto the bar top, go to the customer. Whereas if it comes completely undone when I'm shaking like this, it really does. You're just going to feel that it's a bit loose, and you're gonna fix it up. And so always keep your shaker the right way up. Number 4, there isn't much visual cues, but it's something that I definitely tell all my team members. And it's about the customer interaction, which is obviously a key part of bartending other than making the drinks themselves. And what I mean by that, it's a bit broad, I know, but firstly, always greeting the customer when they walk in. That is still a mistake that it doesn't seem to matter your level of experience. It still happens at the highest of levels, where you walk into a bar, cocktail bar, amazing, drinks look great, the ambience is beautiful, you're walking in, there's bartenders hard at work, but no one acknowledges you. They're all working heads down, making their drinks, and you don't know if it's going to be 10 minutes or 2 minutes till you get served. And then to top it off, they look up and they say, oh, who's next? And somebody who just rocked up 30 seconds ago is like, oh yeah, can I get a whiskey sour? And you're like, I find that really frustrating, and ultimately it is your job to acknowledge everyone that comes in, and by doing that, you're also, it doesn't have to be like, hello, so how are you today? You're not going to have the time for that if you're busy. Even just like a glance or a nod of the eyes, just making sure that there's some kind of exchange where you know that they've been seen, they feel welcome, and then you also know who's next in the bar, because you're automatically figuring out the people that have come to the bar, and you already know who's next. You don't have to ask that question, which we've probably all been there. It causes loads of tension. People get frustrated. Even better, if you can have a look and say, oh, I'm just making these few drinks. It's probably going to take me like 5-10. Is that okay for you? You can then make a judgment call of if you're happy to wait that long. I think that's really important. Finally, number 5, preparation. You don't want to be underprepared in a situation where you're going to be making a lot of drinks. Of course, if you're just making a drink for yourself, it doesn't make a difference. But when you're running a service, you need to make sure that you have everything you need, ideally for the duration of that service. That may not be possible. You may have somebody assisting you, like a barback, but it's still on you to be as prepared as possible. And that can be a variety of things. Making sure you have enough stock. You've got one of your signature cocktails has got a lot of gin in it. You pre-batch that. That's a whole other thing of pre-batching, but that's essentially mixing the ingredients of the cocktail, leaving like fresh juices and stuff aside. You can combine the spirits of that drink into one bottle, and you just need to pour 3 shots out of one bottle. So if you're turning around, grabbing all this stuff, speeds up service. You want to have loads of that stocked away. It's going to save time on somebody having to go get them. Glassware, you don't want to do a drink reception for 200 people and have 20 glasses and the rest are all in the back room. You want to be ready, so as soon as they're out, you're ready to go. In that same sense, for these bigger events, you want to prep your garnishes. You want to start your shift, hopefully, before the service has begun, and that's your time to prepare your stuff. That can be cutting lime wedges, lemon wheels, your peels. So here, this is what I would do if I had drinks that had, a lemon peel, lemon twist, orange twist, lime twist. I peel them in their whole, so you don't have to. You can then nip and tuck them depending on your desired shape, I guess. Tuck them in a way, and this is just like a wet Chuck's cloth, a blue cloth, and if you just pop this in the fridge, they'll keep nice and warm for a couple of days. They won't dry out. Same with mint. Picture mint. It's there. You pop it in with a little bit of like cold water, add a dash of lemonade, top tip. Sugar kind of keeps it alive a little bit longer. And then wrap like a damp cloth around the top, pop it in the fridge, and it will still be good for tomorrow's service if you don't get through it all. Obviously, you don't want to go over the top and prep way too much and then be wasting stock. but preparation is definitely key to a quick and speedy service. There we go. Some of my tips for mistakes that bartenders may make. Let me know your opinions. I'm sure you may have many of them. If you've ever come across some bad mistakes, let us know in the comments. I would be more than happy to hear them. Thank you so much. Cheers.